Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
And welcome to the How Did They Grow podcast. Today we have on Zach Ween. Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. Well, thank you for having me on. My name is Zach, and I'm the founder of ZachFit. I started ZachFit 13 years ago, and I know all about how to overcome all sorts of different challenges with business and how to grow something big from nothing at all.
So, were you always a fitness guy? How did that start?
Good question. I have not always been fit. Most of the time, I've actually been whatever the exact opposite of fit is, that is exactly who I was.
Yeah.
I used to be 70 pounds overweight, smoking a pack a day of cigarettes. I was terrified of the gym. I was never like your typical fitness person.
Okay.
But I hired a personal trainer about 14 years ago, and I lost 70 pounds in 9 months. And through that experience, just got hooked with fitness, and I wanted to find a way to help other people achieve, similar things, similar transformations. But also, I wanted to do it in a way that provided financial and time freedom for myself. So I was able to kind of mesh those two things.
Amazing. So, let me just ask you, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they say that they always knew they were going to be entrepreneurs. Was that the case with you, or is it something you had to get into? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely fit in with that. I always knew I'd be some sort of entrepreneur, but it came from being very rebellious. I was a very rebellious teenager, and I knew that conforming to whether it was school or anything sort of typical just wouldn't be for me. So I always had little businesses. So in high school, I would there was a corner store that I noticed that they would get rid of their energy drinks and food and things. They would get rid of it about a week or so before it would expire, and I worked out a deal with them where I would then buy it for pennies on the dollar from them instead of them throwing it away, and I would take it to school and resell it. Or I'd make little hemp necklaces at school and then go sell it at school. And I had this attitude of and when I made more money in the day than the teachers were making, then I would just skip school and leave. I had this attitude of you can't tell me anything. I've already done better. And yes, that's definitely a very rebellious teenager attitude, but I've really kept that philosophy throughout life. I'm gonna pave my own way, and I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm gonna succeed no matter what.
Definitely. That's an insane story. Tell me, so you started this fitness studio 13 years ago. What was that breaking point that kind of shifted it? And I'm taking this, obviously starting a studio, that means you're taking the full time. But what was that turning point that kind of scaled your business to where you are right now?
Absolutely. It was definitely having an understanding of sales and motivation. If you
Hmm.
can't convince someone to let you help them, you're not going to be able to help anybody.
Mm.
So whether it was, growing up, my dad actually would have me read business books, and I'd write a little 1 page review of it, and then he'd pay me to do that. So we would do things we'd go to a store and buy a bunch of candy bars, and then we'd go door to door selling them, and he would teach me how to basically sell candy bars. But those principles of sales and motivation and persuasion are really the only way to help other people, and that's how I was really able to make my business full time and not just a side hustle. a lot of trainers out there do personal training as a way to like get them in between things. So like, oh, this is my job I'm going to do while I'm in school, but I'm really studying, being an accountant or something. And how I was able to make personal training a full-time gig, a full-time job, and a thriving business is understanding the principles of being, persuasive, and understanding that, you can, let's say you're at a gym and you can have two trainers, and two trainers are just, these trainers are perfect. They're the best personal trainers in the entire world, right? But one of them can convince people to work with them and the other one can't. The person that can convince people to work with them is going to help the most people.
Definitely.
So having an understanding that like it's not bad to learn about sales. A lot of times personal trainers might think, oh, like that's like dirty, that's naughty, like that's,
Yeah,
we
it's
think sales,
cheesy.
we think like, yeah, like sleazy. Like, no, like
Uh,
persuasion is important. If you can't convince anyone to let you help them, then you're not going to help anybody.
Never, never. That's amazing. That's amazing. So tell us your approach to fitness. What is it like? Is it calisthenics? Is it weightlifting? How does that play out?
Yeah, so when it comes to fitness, and how I kind of like developed the ZachFit method, the best way to describe it is functional bodybuilding. So we do a lot of functional exercises, a lot of full body movements and compound movements, but
Yeah.
definitely with a lot of the goal of like maybe mixed in with like traditional bodybuilding goals. Ultimately, though, we train our clients based off of whatever they're looking for. So if people come to us and they want to train for a race, right, we'll train them for a marathon. If people come to us and want to lose body fat, we train for that. Or if people are trying to bulk up and build muscle, we'll train for that. Or if they want all three, we have a method for that. But to answer your question, we definitely default towards something called functional bodybuilding.
Amazing. It's amazing that you have your own sort of system. Let's kind of segue into social media and see like did you always start when you started, the fitness studio, was social media a big part of it, or was it something you learned to embrace?
It's definitely something I've learned to embrace. Being that I started my business 13 years ago, this is really before the big wave of what Instagram and social media is today. I was definitely a little bit of like a little bit hesitant, a little bit of like a luddite when it comes to like taking on the new social media. So I really had to play catch up about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. I really had to play catch up. And oh my gosh, it's absolutely worth it. Social media is really everything, especially for a business like a personal training studio. I definitely had to learn a lot and kind of trust that it would all be worth it.
So how have you been able to embrace it? Like, what's your method? Like right now, what are you doing right now that the audience can kind of learn from and like doing to push out your business?
Yeah. So what I do is I don't wait around for leads to come in. I go out and I acquire leads. So whether that's noticing whenever someone follows us, then we go in and send them a DM, like, welcome to ZachFit, glad you're here, glad you're following us. And then we include a link for them to schedule a free consultation. We'll, when people interact and comment with our posts, we always reply. And when I say we, it's myself and I have a team. I'm not talking about myself in like the third person. I've
Yeah.
an awesome team that works with me. Um, but we're always making sure that we comment back and then we DM them. When people use relevant hashtags in our area, like for example, our gym is located in Scottsdale. So if someone uses the hashtag like Scottsdale Fitness, then we go in there and then we, DM them and tell them about our studio. So we don't wait around waiting for business to come to us. We really go out and we acquire leads in a very active way.
Amazing, amazing. How's that been working out?
It's been going good. That's always kind of been my attitude, is that I'm not going to wait around and sit around and wait for things. I'm going to go out there and make it happen with like action. So it works really well.
I think that's amazing, and that's kind of like a different perspective to what our viewers are used to hearing. They're used to hearing a lot of organic, organic, organic. What's your sort of view on that?
Yeah, I think all of it has a place. So whether it's
Mm,
things like organic reach versus boosted posts on Instagram, or organic reach versus or like paid ads on Google versus SEO. Um, I would say if you're just hyper focused on just one of them, I would say then it's likely that you're selling yourself short in some aspect. So a suggestion I would give people is to just definitely go all in on all of it, as much as you can.
definitely, definitely, definitely. So you do post a lot. What are your posts like in terms of social media? What is that message you're trying to share when you're on, and how often do
Yeah.
you do
So I've noticed when it comes to post frequency and the type of post, it really matters. So I think I always aim for a post or two every day, but sometimes every other day works as well. But the
that? Yeah,
quality and the content itself matters most. So when I talk
yeah,
about quality, yeah, professional, video and audio is great, but even just like a simple selfie video goes a long way. It just has to have substance and a hook, but also, you know, there's a difference between engagement and qualified leads. So, for example, with fitness, I can post a picture of myself shirtless, sweaty, working out, and it'll get a ton of likes and a ton of engagement, but not many
yeah,
people are going to sign up for my service. But if I
yeah.
post a video where my shirt is on and I'm being very, happy and joyful and very informative and loving and encouraging, then people then follow the link and sign up. So my first few years on Instagram, I fell into the trap of like, we're all going to be shirtless, sweaty, and like get hella likes and tons of views. But that didn't convert very well to like actual money made.
Yeah,
So switching up my branding to being a lot more authentic and very true to the
yeah,
ZachFit brand. And the ZachFit brand, it's a lot of the welcoming and the love and the authenticity and the enthusiasm and the empathy. Like those things definitely drive business way better than just like anybody can take their shirt off and like flex and get a ton of likes.
definitely. I do agree with what you said at the end there, where you said like authenticity is key. It's 2025, and it just seems like on social media everyone's trying to do a fast one over the next person. And so the
Mhm.
people who are authentic naturally rise to the top in terms of trust from their audience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about your offer in terms of what you're doing right now. How do you do a lot? Do you do a lot of online coaching, or is it just in a studio?
Yeah, I do a whole bunch of online coaching. I would say it's about 60-40. So 60% of the business is here in person at our studio, and 40% is online. We have an app that I used a brand called AppRabbit to develop. And that app, it's where the bulk of my business is done, even for the in-person clientele. So my in-person clients, they train 1 or 2 times a week here in studio, but then they interact with my app on a daily basis. So within my app, it uploads their custom workout program, it uploads their nutrition. They actually log their food within my app. If you've ever heard of apps like, MyFitnessPal or Fat
Yeah.
Secret, things like that, the ZachFit app actually has those features in it as well. My app is also gamified, so there's different challenges that clients can do every week to rack up points in like a leaderboard system. And at the end of the month, whoever has the most points gets a free session within that app as well. So we do live training. So very similar to this call that we have now. There's like video calls that we set up through the app for online clients so they can train once a week virtually. And you'd be surprised, like we can kick butt even over like a little screen like this. Um, so yeah, we do a good amount of online and in person. We also offer boot camp classes and yoga classes, and different community events and social events because the whole point of my studio is to be a community and offer accountability. Um, Anyone can just go on Google and download a perfectly adequate fitness plan or a nutrition plan,
Yeah.
but most people will follow it for 2 to 3 days and then fall off. So
Yeah.
I'm not really like, of course, my clients are getting great workout plans, nutrition plans written by myself and my team. But really, what people that might be the reason why they sign up, but the reason why people stay is they stay because of the accountability and the community.
Yeah, definitely do agree with you on that.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
I'm just curious, by the way, like obviously you have the studio, those numbers you said 60-40.
Mhm.
In your mind, like maybe like just in 2025, are you looking to like
Yeah.
change those numbers? Which way are you which way are you looking to sway more in?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for it to flip. I'd love for 60% of the business to be coming from online and 40% to be coming from in person. With in person, it just takes a lot of man hours. Like literally, like trainer has to be here training. Whereas
Mhm.
online, we can do a lot of like quick check-ins, and it's a lot more of like a streamlined process.
Yeah, it's flexible.
Yeah.
And the connection is still there. It's still there like it would be in person in the studio.
Absolutely. We're so conditioned to being connected to people virtually anyways. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've had clients that we've been training for 3, 4 years online, never met them once, but we train over FaceTime or the ZachFit app rather, and I'd consider them close friends.
Amazing, amazing. So now I want you to kind of share with the audience, your plan to kind of switch those numbers, or even maybe take it more, maybe 80-20. What's your plan to kind of do that?
Yeah, the plan is definitely to keep chugging, but even increase how much I am posting on social media and to really branch out. Right now, I'm just so hyper focused on Instagram. And I kind of use the excuse of like, oh, TikTok might be banned in the US. So I don't know about all that. But I,
Uh,
yeah, the plan is to then really reach out and branch out
yeah.
and really be less solely focused on just Instagram.
No, no, no. TikTok, like really, really, really. You might not get a ton of customers from there, but the most important thing is the reach, the
Yeah.
eyeballs on you. People
Yeah.
recognize you when they see you on Instagram for the first time. They're like, "Know this guy before," because they've seen you on TikTok. Because TikTok has this, they call it a virality tendency. It's easy for
Yeah.
posts to go viral, if you know what I'm saying. So I would
Yeah.
say, like, even if it didn't have that, it's
Yeah.
just another platform.
Yeah.
What would
Yes.
be? Why not just put it on there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with like I already have all the content like made. Like
Yeah,
you might as well just throw it on the other one as well.
exactly, exactly. So what other strategies, you're willing to share with our audience?
Yeah, outside of, increasing as the amount of posts and increasing the outreach that we do,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have like any other in-depth kind of like strategies or insights as far as like how I am going to keep growing or kind of flipping those numbers, because it's already kind of happening already, pretty slow and steady. For as tenacious as I am and as much as I love to really like make things happen, I over the last 13 years, just how business works, I'm really comfortable with like the results pending, if that makes sense. So it's like, my desire to bring in more online clients is happening definitely slowly and steadily, but I'm not really trying to rush it or really, it's already happening. So I'm just gonna like let that process keep happening.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an interesting way to see. A lot of people, it's especially in this entrepreneur space, social media space, where it's
Mhm.
like, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it.
Mhm.
10K, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
So what's kind of the motivation behind that perspective?
I think in my beginning years of entrepreneurship, especially with the brand ZachFit, I definitely had that attitude of like just 100 hours a week, grinding, grinding, grinding. And it was very essential. It was very essential. But now that I'm 13 years into this, I've earned the right to kind of breathe. I'm definitely not um, being complacent. So I'm definitely always like pushing forward. But you know, I've hit so many milestones, whether they're monetary milestones or work-life balance milestones. I'm really at a place in business where it's like, I can step back, can breathe, trust the process. I have a really good team that puts in a lot of the footwork where I can be like I can, over have like I can kind of oversee and point the ship, but I can really have like a big team to really like where we can like kind of make that ship go forward together.
Amazing, amazing. It's like there's this perception in the industry, and I like what you said about having a team. Would
Mhm.
you say building that? At what point in those 13 years did you decide to stop being a solopreneur and branch
Mhm.
out, and why?
Yeah, so it was about 5 years ago. I
Okay.
really was just, I had about 7 or 8 years of just like absolutely just like like nose to the grindstone, just like, oh my gosh, like just nearly dying. Like I was just burning out. There's only so long I could do everything on my own. And then I
Yeah.
noticed that, yeah, then I noticed that like I was really just selling myself short, trying to fix and manage and control every aspect of my brand. And I really had to come to terms with, let's say, my self-diagnosed like 100% best work ever, right? Like I
Mhm.
had to understand that like the best employee ever will do it about as 80% good as I would perceive that I would do it. And that
Yeah.
80% is perfectly okay. So
Mm.
I was letting this idea of perfection be the killer of like forward momentum. So like, oh, if it's not perfect, if it's not absolutely 100% perfect, we're just not going to do it. We're not going to go through with this plan of action or this new product that I want to launch. Um, Hiring a team and really giving them direction and clarity, and
Yeah.
then even knowing that like, hey, even if it's 80% as good as I would do it, it's still good enough. Let's go. Um, Kind of flipping and having that attitude is really c- sparked a lot of growth within my brand.
Amazing. What would you say are the most important? Like, if someone's like maybe on a budget, right, and they know they're at this
Mhm,
point where they realize they have to branch out unless they're gonna burn out. What
mhm.
would you say are the most important? Um, how do I say? The most important people to have around you, like the first pieces that matter most.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I would say that what matters most is someone that can help you create clarity in what you're expecting. So,
Hmm.
for example, if I'm going to bring on someone, whether it's a social media manager or a social media team or another trainer for my gym, or even if it's just, you know, someone that I get off of Fiverr to do like mundane tasks, um, I really having a system where everything can be very clear and very like expectations very like bullet point drawn out. So like these are the goals of what we're going to do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and a monthly basis, and this is how I'm going to check to make sure that you're doing it. So really making sure that you have clarity before hiring someone, but also you can pay people based off of commission. So even if
Mm.
you don't have enough money for maybe an hourly rate to hire someone, you can always reach out. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. Like someone will absolutely work for you for commission. So you can
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm a new brand. I'm a young brand. I'm just starting out. This is my
Hmm.
plan. Um, I know your rate might be, whatever, $20 an hour or whatever it is. I would love to offer you instead a 20% commission of new business for the next, 2 months or however you want to work it. And that's a way that you can kind of get over that hurdle of not maybe thinking you have enough money to bring someone on. Uh, Often people use that idea of I don't have enough money to be an excuse to just like not move forward. So for example, when I was first starting out in business, I had absolutely nothing, right? Like I didn't have anything. I had like just an idea and a car. I had an idea and a car payment, and I had negative net worth, and I made it work with very little money. And I brought in my first employee. I was like, oh, I can't afford this, but then offering my first employee like a commission based um, payment really worked. But I think looking back, I think if I just like stopped buying like the latest, greatest shoes and newest clothes, I probably could have afforded to bring on someone hourly anyways.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying, on one hand, you're saying like it's an excuse. People do like the growth comes with sacrifices, is what you're
Yep.
saying. And you have to
Yeah.
prioritize, getting those new pair of sneakers
Yep.
over growing your
Yep.
business, basically. That's what you're saying, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And my attitude for the first 7 or 8 years of my business was the business eats first. So whatever the business needs, it takes. I wasn't taking much money out of the business for those first 7 or 8 years. The business just ate it all. Any money I made, I'd put right back into the business. And I'm so glad I did, because now I have, the ability to have financial flexibility and financial freedom, and a work-life balance that really favors life. And it's all because, I let the business eat for the first like 7 or 8 years.
Amazing, amazing. Let's kind of do this and like, let me ask you, 2025, obviously you come out of 2024. I have no idea how good or bad the year was, but in 2025, what are some of your goals for 2025 for you, your brand, social media in general? What are your goals and how are you willing to achieve them?
Yeah, so my goals for this coming year are to keep growing at a steady pace and
Mm,
to have enough clientele to really help my team feel like extra valued and secure. There's churn with customers that I've largely been able to almost diminish. We have a really low churn rate, which is really good. But with my employees, I want to make sure that I don't have any churn with my employees as well. We've gotten a lot better, but I want to make sure that I really focus on, keep getting lots of clients for my trainers to have like full schedule and full capacity. I have 4 trainers that train at my studio, and I would love to just make all of them full time. Right now, they're part time. So I'd love to just like keep signing up people here in the studio and online training, with the virtual sessions to really bolster their schedule and money that they earn as well. And to do that, I'm really going to be focusing on more targeted ads through, whether it's Instagram or Google. In the past, I've kind of had like this like throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks attitude. So even if I was getting a lot of leads, they weren't converting. So I'm really going to be going for quality leads and leads that really fit, the current clientele we have. I don't need to create
yep.
new avatars for
Mm,
ZachFit. I just need to focus on like the 2 or 3 avatars that we have, and to get those more targeted, um, those targeted eyeballs on the ads. It might take a little bit more capital as far as like boosted posts, a lot more specific things. But I really want to really focus in on like getting a lot more targeted with who's seeing my ads or my posts, and worry less about total. Like, for example, if I post something on Instagram and it gets 100,000 views within the first week, but it doesn't really convert too much, but then I can, post something and it only gets 2,000 views, but someone will then click learn
yeah.
more and get a consultation. Then I can then encourage them to sign up for training after that. So really just kind of like flipping what metrics I value.
Mm. That's amazing. That's amazing. You said a lot of stuff. One thing you said was trying to make your personal trainers from part-time to full-time. And you
Mhm.
said that's gonna come from you getting more clients. And you also said you getting more clients is gonna come from you doing a lot more targeting, right?
Yeah.
And you said you wanna do ads.
Yeah.
So again, I'm gonna say this again. This is like different to what our viewers are
Yeah.
used to hearing me.
Okay.
The way we tend to go about it, just a little bit
Yeah.
of a diversion
Yeah.
here, is for example, our clients. There's this lady we worked with. She's a leadership coach, so we were able to hone in on her message and craft that
Yeah.
message. We do the research, craft that message for her, and she's like, we were able to give her that message to be able to put out organically, and she was posting. Obviously, with our system, she was posting 240 times a month on all different platforms. So that amount of curation in your organic content, you connecting with the audience, not behind
Yeah.
an ad, not behind a quote unquote sponsored content, just
Yeah.
you connecting with your audience, that was able to 10x her what's it called, her business, because we have leads coming
Wow.
in. Because at the end of the videos, there are all these lead magnets and all that, and she's like, okay, comment this word for this and that, and you can
Yeah.
go and you can see her comment section, and it's filled with people commenting that word. So these are just what's the word, hot leads, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
another
that's
perspective, just
awesome.
kind of throw that outside and like just to
Yeah.
give you something to think about,
Absolutely.
because
And yeah, I
organic.
definitely,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I definitely trust what you would say as far as your expertise on social media. I would definitely rely solely on what you're saying. I definitely, I'm definitely not like a social media guru, for sure. So I would rely solely on your suggestions for that. That is for sure.
Don't worry, man. I'm not a guru either. There are guys in the work with us that are gurus, but I'm not saying that ads are bad. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Ads are good,
Yeah.
but the way ads work is like you already have to build your business to a point where the business itself is a cash printing machine. Now that
Yeah.
it's a cash printing machine, you want to scale that, and you're throwing ads at it to kind of multiply that. But if you're
Yeah.
growing that business, trying to put things in place, I mean, if you have the budget, if you have 5K to throw at ads every month, that's a
Mhm.
good thing. You can do
Yeah.
that. But
Mhm.
if you're trying to build something where you're connecting with that audience, organic, I mean, just tell me like, if you were a viewer, what would
Yeah.
you rather see?
Oh, organic. Because whenever it like has that little like sponsored, it
Yeah.
sometimes I just flip past because it's like,
Throw away. Yeah.
whatever Instagram's telling me I need to look at. Like I want to look at the stuff I
Yeah.
want to look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's free.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. Amazing. So 2025, you're getting more clients. It's
Mhm.
something you can definitely do. Let me
Mhm.
just kind of like give you this last one. It's a question.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
kind of, what this podcast, it's been good. It's been great. What is one thing you wish I asked you on this podcast?
Oh wow. It's fantastic. Oh, let's see. Gosh, everything was so good. Let's see. One thing I wish. Maybe you can cut out how long I'm thinking here. Let me think
No
here.
problem.
Uh,
The editors will do all that.
um, let me just ask- maybe maybe like people I feel like people like overcoming adversity. So maybe like
Mm,
what are like the biggest challenges? Maybe like what are the biggest challenges that you face as an
you
entrepreneur or
think?
something like that?
Mm.
Yeah, something like that.
Let me do that real quick. So, what are the biggest
Yeah.
challenges you faced as an entrepreneur? Like, what was that thing that you had to overcome, and when you overcame it, you knew, like, man, this is full time now. There's no going back. What is your
Yeah.
mindset toward those kind of challenges? Yeah.
I would say there's two things that really stunted my growth with business, but maybe not stunted it. Maybe it was just like a necessary lesson I had to learn to move forward. So I
Okay.
didn't go to business school. So whenever I do make mistakes in business and it costs me money, I just consider that tuition. Like, oh well, I didn't pay university tuition. I'm just paying life tuition.
Yeah.
Um, I think two things was that I wish I would have known earlier was one that you do not need a business partner, and two, if you are bringing on a business partner, they must be offering something to the business that you yourself don't already offer. So,
Mm,
for example, if I am short on cash, if I don't have money, I need a business partner that has money.
My, yeah,
If I am short on knowledge, if I just have ignorance of a market, if I just don't know, let's say, this might not be an example for my gym, but this might be an example for someone. If I'm making an object, if I have this idea, I want to make this super cool object, this
yeah,
tangible
yeah,
object,
yeah.
but I don't know how to get the object to market, then I need a business partner that can get that object to market. If you, for example, I happen to be really into like motivation and persuasion and learning about sales. But if you don't know that stuff, then or don't want to learn it, then get a business partner that knows it. I made the mistake of bringing on a business partner that was basically had all the same skills I had. We were both great trainers. We're both great personality. And it just didn't really work out because we had different ideas of like the direction where we wanted to take the business. And I'm still friends with this person today. They're great. But one thing I learned and something I had to overcome was bringing on I brought on a business partner simply because that's just what people talked about doing. Like, oh, you have a business, you have a business partner. But this business partner wasn't offering anything that I didn't already have. So
Yeah.
that was a really intense part of business because what I do is it's so personal. When you get a personal trainer, they become one of your closest friends. So when there was the split of the business partnership, it was really hard on a lot of our clientele because they got to know, both
Yeah.
of us, and really got used to both of us. So that's one thing that I had to overcome. And another thing that I had to overcome was COVID, really. When the world shut down, a lot of gyms closed down. But strangely enough, my gym actually doubled in size and in business and in clients because we then went all in on online training. A lot of big gyms were able to survive COVID because they had enough capital to just kind of outlast. A lot of medium-sized gyms closed down because they didn't have the kind of that capital to kind of get through the tough times. But my gym
Mm.
at the time, my gym was so small, we were actually able to thrive and grow because our overhead was very low. We didn't have a ton of bills. And I was able then to just go all in on online training, and we were just able to like double our business through COVID.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. And it's been stable since then. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think it's been amazing having you on, Zach. It's been amazing. Where can the people,
Mike,
go
thank
to
you.
find out? It's my pleasure, man. Where can the people go to find out and learn more about, what you do in your work?
Yeah, on ZachFit, our username, or you can find us on ZachFit is at zach.fit and
Okay.
just zachfit.com.
Yeah. By the way, guys, if you're not listening on video, it's Zach, Z-A-C, not Z-A-C-K.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, Zach, Z-A-C, and then
Exactly.
dot F-I-T.
Amazing. It's been a pleasure having you on, man. Hopefully we can have you on some other time, man.
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you so much.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?